first change that takes place is in your mind. You have to change your mind before you change the way you live and the way you move.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Voice Visions Presents. I'm Voice of G, and once again, we have humble Rickyy in the building in Miami, Florida, 305. You already know, doing it big. Man, what an amazing opportunity to be back in the 305 again, especially with Rickyy. We're doing it again. And the last time we saw each other was for the Who video shoot.
Yeah,
and
we did that.
We did that, man. First off, I'll give you the floor. Tell us about the feedback on the song, on the video. How do you think that was received?
To be honest, like, it was better than I expected.
Really?
To be honest, yeah. In terms of the songs itself. So because let's be honest, I haven't really made songs like that before. So and that's kind of a new route that I'm trying to take with my music. I'm trying to talk about stuff that I've been through a little bit more, as opposed to what people want to hear, which is women, money, drugs. It's like, and I've been there, when I first started, where I'm like, okay, I feel like that's what I had to talk about in the music. So I'm like, nah, let me just switch that. Let me talk a little bit more about what I've been through, which I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit more difficult to translate what I've been through into the mic, into the song. It was a little bit more easier to just talk about women, so, but it's worth it though. So
it's not love frequencies, but it's something different. And I know in that time you were going through a tough time, just like we all do, right?
Yeah.
Especially, we don't have to go too much into detail, but you were grieving, at the time.
Yeah.
Family, things happen, and talk about, I guess, your mindset in that moment, and then of course where you are today.
Like, if we're talking about the time that I made the song, I wasn't really grieving at the moment, but I was going through certain changes at the time. Eventually, things got worse, but that's after I already released a song and everything, things got worse. But it's like, I don't know, the universe have a certain way of things happening. It's like the song kind of translates well with how everything happened, you know what I mean? Like when I said for example in the song, who that have been hurt more than me, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It just happened, but I didn't really make the songs because of what really transpired, what me and you both know without, going into too much details. If you know, you know what I mean? So yeah.
And of course, it's been a while since you've been on the show. It's been a while since I've done an episode. I'm sorry, guys. But last year we did get together during men's mental health awareness month, and of course here we are a year later. This is the month of June. Of course, you have Pride as well, but we're highlighting men's mental health as well once again, and talk about what did you do to process that? I see you posting a lot of fitness videos, working out. What is it that you do for mental health? What have you learned?
So that's the thing. As a man, I'm gonna specifically say as a black man, it's very hard, to even talk about that mental stuff. Whenever you start talking about it, people look at you really, you're weak, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can speak, for myself as a black man. So it's really hard, So, but for me, the way that I deal with it is to working out and making music, especially making music even more than working out. To be honest, music is my go-to. So it's once I'm locked in, I'm making a beat, or I'm mixing, everything is I just don't think about any of that mental stuff. But let's be honest, everybody go through mental stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, whether you want to admit it or not, we all go through mental stuff. That's it. There's no other way around it. So that's it. So working out and making music, that's the best way for me that I occupy my mind and not to think too much about especially everything that's going on around me that affect my health. You know what I mean? So
it's a great answer there, and you talk about your experience as a black man I know in the Hispanic community, it's almost the same, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we especially in the Hispanic community, it's almost the same, and I at least in my life, I heard stories about my grandfather on both sides of the family going through things. My dad, my uncles, but I don't find out about these things till later. I'm like, man, this is what you were going through. You never showed it. Not only did you not tell us, but you never showed it, and that's really it's a touchy subject, you know, to be able to.
It's a very, very touchy subject, to be honest. Like, because, like I said, it's like, as a man, because the society sees, like, you know, as, you know, that strong, like, you know, figure and everything. And sometimes when you talk about, you know, mental health, like, you know, what you're going through, especially to the wrong people, it can come out across like, you know, you're complaining, you're whining. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you're a man. You know what I'm saying? So
and we're just talking about working out, and there's the David Goggins. I don't know if you know David Goggins, but there's with David Goggins' way of dealing with it. Who's gonna carry the boats? And get your butt up. Got to do something. You know, there's that, but then there's also wait. I'm still processing something. How do I healthily reveal like these emotions and these feelings? So there's always that. But man,
but that's the thing too. Also, is like
happy to be talking about this.
It's different for everybody. Everybody, like, you know, channel, like, you know, the emotions differently. You know, some people, the way they deal with the emotions or whatever they're going through is like they need to talk about it. You know, and some people they just wanna like just withdraw and just be to themselves, like, you know what I mean? So it's like everybody's different. So everybody's like, you know, address, you know, and you know, I mean, their emotions like differently. So it's up to like, you know, each individual. So it's never gonna be the same.
Yeah, everybody's on their own journey.
Yeah, and, most definitely.
You know, it's kind of like, do you react to everything that happens to you? Do you just like let it out there? Like, let's say you hit the red light, and you're running late for work or something. Are you that person who has their emotions on their sleeve and they're just like,
I'm not going to lie. That's a very good question.
Or do you bottle it up inside and then it blows up later?
I'm not going to lie. Like, growing up, I feel like I used to do that a little bit more. And that's kind of like due to like the way my childhood was set up. You know what I mean? So it's like, I always like, you know, then feel like, you know, free to just express my emotions. So whenever I went through something, I just kept it inside. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to lie though. It's like on the long run, as I like, you know, I grew up and I start getting into relationship, like, kind of like, how could I say, like, making new friends and stuff like that. It was a little bit more of a problem for me because I could just like that, I just snap on people. Just like that, you know what I mean? Because I've been holding things in, you know, for too long. And once it like reach a certain point, I can't help it but just to explode. And when I don't know if I can cuss, but it's like, it's ugly, you know what I mean?
Anything you want to.
Yeah, so it's like,
you know how it is. You know how it is, bro.
But yeah, but it's like, you know, when that happened, I just explode, you know, and so, but that's something that I've been working on, and I'm proud of myself, like, you know, for that, like, you know, working on myself and controlling my emotions, you know, find ways to express myself without, like, you know, having to hurt, you know, other people around me.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's been tough. I'm not going to lie. It's been hard because, like, I'm one of these person that don't have filters. Like, if I got to say something, I'm going to say it exactly the way it is, you know? But lately I've been trying to, like, you know, manage that, work around that. And yeah, but I'm proud so far. I feel like I'm doing a good job. I'm not where I need to be, but I'm not where I used to be though. You know what I mean?
Man,
so
that's dope. That's a great
definitely,
life. And you know, talking about life and being men and everything, like we're getting older. I just turned 30 in February. Well, I just turned in February a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But I just got married. I'm going through a lot of changes.
Yeah, congratulations. I'm still mad though. You didn't. Come on, man. We'll talk about that off camera. Though.
Yeah, definitely. But well, going back to the same kind of topic for sure is now because you kind of talked a little bit about it in relationships.
Yeah.
I have a wife now. You know, the ball game is different. The stakes are higher.
Most definitely.
But, you know, she comes home from work frustrated. Obviously, she wants to vent to me. But sometimes I might have things I was going through. So it's kind of like, how do I set my stuff aside and then listen to her and then balance the emotions? And it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Especially, like I said, in relationships, you're battling your own demons,
Yes.
and then now you kind of have to
take
still
on
have
somebody
energy
else. Yeah.
to help somebody else through their problems or whatever's going on. So
yeah.
So yeah, it's all about balance. You're using music, you're using working out as to find that balance, which is awesome. I think that's something to definitely look up to.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, it's
so like let me ask you something though, because I know you also make music.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
like, how do you deal with that? While being in a relationship.
How do I balance that music and a relationship? What I was gonna say was, I feel like I'm lucky because I met somebody who, from the beginning of the relationship, gave me the space. That's
important.
She's not as creative, but she's creative in so many different ways.
Yeah.
But definitely, like, making music, writing is not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But she's always been the biggest fan of me, and but I also say that when, like, I make a beat or I make a song that sucks, I'll be honest, she will tell me. So she gives me the space.
That's not it.
Right? No, she gives me the space to find that balance, and she actually helps me with the balance too. She'll say, "Hey, I know we have a date on Friday. Don't forget about that date, but Saturday is yours. You can have Saturday to work on music, your business."
I hear that.
So yeah, that's one thing. If you're going on these dates and the person is raising that red flag, then like, oh, this person is not gonna respect my space to be creative and stuff.
That's very important. Bro. That's very important as an artist.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, at some point I used to think, I'm like, okay, I feel like as an artist, if you really focus on on your craft, it was a bad idea to be in a relationship. I used to think that way, to be honest. Because I feel like it's kind of hard to balance, because I feel like, especially as an independent artist, because it's like you have to do everything yourself, you know what I mean? And especially if you don't have someone, I mean, if you're not in a relationship with, someone that understands that, it can be like, problematic, because you're going to spend a lot of time either writing, thinking about new ideas, to work on yourself, your brand as an artist or like producer, and I used to think like, okay, if that person is not on the same page and willing, I don't want to say like, take a backseat, a little bit, but to be honest, that's kind of like what it's going to have to be. I mean, I'm saying if you're serious about music, because
definitely you can't going on tour.
Yes, you think about you really going, and I can speak for myself, because you remember, like, let's say, like, back 2022, before all these things happened, like, I was going hard. You know what I mean? Yep. I was going hard, like, for like, to my own shows, my own listening parties, you know what I mean? I was going crazy, and I know, and I was in a relationship at the time, you know what I mean? And I'm not going to lie, it's like, it did affect it some kind of way, you know what I mean?
Babe, another show?
Yeah, yes, it did affect, like, the relationship some kind of way, you know what I mean? So, but at the same time, also, I be feeling like, okay, let's say you focus so much, like, on music, and then you kind of, like, I'm not going to say ignore, but push everybody else around you that loves you. To the point I'm like, let's say you make it, and like, damn, do you want to make it and be lonely? Or you want to make it with somebody that you can trust, that you love, that loves you?
Song idea.
You know what I'm saying? It's like pick your poison, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it's like, that's why I asked that question.
No, definitely great questions. And, yeah, I mean, let's get to it. I mean, we got 6 months left in the year. What's next for Rickyy or humble Rickyy? You know what I'm saying? Like, life and just hip hop, like music. I know you're into different genres, so really anything. One thing I love about humble Rickyy, your music, is you can expect anything. There's not like you could drop like a singing song, you could drop a rapping song, you can drop anything. So what's the next? What's next for yourself?
I'm not going to lie. It's like I have so many things like in my bags, like I don't even know where to go with it, to be honest. So, but I'm not going to lie. Like I've been getting like organically, like with the song like Who that I recently released, like with the video, is like organically I get so many like positive feedback, that they like the new sound, like everything about it.
Yeah.
So it's like I wanted to like continue like on that path. But at the same time, like that's not who I am as an artist. I don't stick to just one thing. I like to, you know what I mean saying? It's like, yes, I did that. I don't want to just repeat it again. You know what I mean? So it was like for me, the way I approach it is like I just create the art in the moment, the way it feels, and then leave it as that. You know, you either like it or you don't like it. Probably gonna come back like 10 years, 20 years from now. Oh damn, whatever happened to this guy? You know, that's cool enough for me. You know what I mean? But and some of like what I have next though is like I have like a couple of like kind of more like, you know, I want to say R&B, but where I talk a little bit more about like, you know, relationships, you know, that I got out like about 5 or 6 tracks, like, you know, EP that I was working on. And then also I wanted to go the route with making like, you know, more like, in my culture, like Haitian music.
Okay. As compa?
No, not really compa. It's more like Afro.
Okay.
You know, so it's like, so I was looking into that. I actually got like about like 4 or 5 tracks, you know, EP also.
Love it.
Yeah, so I kind of like don't know which direction to go. To be honest, it's like at first I really didn't really want to make. It's not I didn't really want to make Haitian music. I didn't feel confident enough, you know, in my writing, like, you know, my delivery and stuff. But knowing me, I'm like, yeah, F all that. I'm just gonna do what I feel like. You like it, you don't, you know. That's it. That's the route that, like, you know, I wanted to go. Especially, you know, since my parents, you know, my mom passed away, and I never really make like, you know, Haitian music. And she used to love hearing me singing and everything, but she never really understood what I used to talk about because, you know, her English was not, you know, like that. So I'm like, damn, I probably should have met, you know, some she could understand it here. So I'm like, and when I think about it, which make me want to go more into making like, you know, Haitian music and sing a little bit more in Creole. So I got a little bit of few tracks, you know, that I'm working on. And where I'm like, it still got some English in it, but yeah, but it have Creole in it too. So
I love the mix. Now, one question, it's the last question, but I feel like you can take your time with the answer because there's so many components. This era that we're going into is brand new. We this is like discovering space for the first time. We have AI. And I'm not gonna beat you up. I'm not gonna do that. AI, but I've seen that you use some AI for covers, and you know, you as an artist, especially independent artist, you have to see what tools you can use and whatnot. But what do you think about people like Timbaland using? Sorry, but we're almost done. I got like 10 minutes. But yeah. So, what do you think about Timbaland like using AI for some of his beats? And I think we talked about it a little bit on the chat that we have, the takeover chat.
Yeah.
That he actually got caught stealing somebody's beat using AI to make other beats and make music. Yeah. See, now he has like a record deal with an AI company. So what is your take on AI? Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think?
All right, so I'm like, AI itself, I don't think it's a bad thing.
Okay.
But like how people use it though, I feel can be a bad thing. Like in the case of like, you know, Timbaland, like, but first of all, let me say that. So when it comes to music, people always gonna take away, you know, from what's already been created, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? People always gonna take like, you know, you can hear the sound, and then I'm like, you know what? I might not do this exact sound, but you get influenced by it, and you take the idea and you translate it into, you know, your own thing. The only problem like I have is like when I was listening to it, like I feel like he basically speak like, you know, the same pattern. It's like just the sound. It's like
sampling.
Yeah, it's not even sampling. You know what I mean? It's like he literally just took the beat, you know, whatever the guy did, and just put it as his own. Because I guess the guy's not big enough, you know, where people not gonna recognize it. I don't know what that was, because I'm like, he should know better than that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, you can't get sued for that. And
right.
So that's how I feel about it. But like AI, but I feel like AI is like, it's a great tool, to be honest, you know, to have, you know, it's just how you use it though, to be honest. Cause like you said, like some of my covers, I just use AI for it. You know what I mean? Like it helped me as an independent artist that's limited on budget. You know what I'm saying? And I might not be able to pay this guy $500, $600 to just do a cover, but I'm like, hey, I can just go to AI and get, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then just use like, you know, whatever I'm thinking, and then type that, and then just boom, I got it. You know what I mean? So it helped. You know what I mean? So I know it's probably not working in the favor of the people that are making the cover, but it is what it is. So
no, definitely is another tool.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the way I see it.
yeah, we're basically wrapping the interview up, man. Again, I'm so happy to have you back.
Most definitely, most definitely, most
And
definitely. Man.
is there anything you want to tell the people before we wrap things up here on the Voice Visions podcast?
I'll say just keep doing you guys. You know, let's say if you're a producer, like you're an artist or like videographer, like whatever you do, just keep doing you. Make sure like, you know, you love what you're doing and you're doing it the way that you want to do it. You're expressing yourself because not everybody gonna love you. Not everybody gonna like you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, God damn it, not everybody love God and Jesus. So who are you? You know what I mean?
That is real.
So whatever you do, just make sure you love what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like just focus and then don't just to focus on results. The results gonna come. Just do the work and then that's it.
All right, thank you so much.
Bro. Thanks for having me.
We're definitely gonna hang out, bro. I'm here till Sundays, so let me know.
First change that takes place within your mind. You have to change your mind before you